Sophie Dorset was having a bad week. It had all started when she found out the first 17 years of her life had been an experiment from an alien race to learn about humanity. Her long-term boyfriend had been a Mark 15 traveller robot, or Travis. Her life was littered with aliens in disguise. While some, like her mother and pen friend, tried to protect her, the others were trying to find and kill her. Amy Hunt was the one they worked for, and wanted to find Sophie more than anything else in the world. Perhaps it had been a bad decision to go on a trip to Bereford University, knowing the teacher who organised the trip was also intending to kill her as soon as she was found. Regardless, it was a risk Sophie needed to take to stop the collection of another part of the Trav-15's brain. Even that was not her most immediate problem, as the only person she had confided in had just been revealed to be related to Amy Hunt, and if he had told them, then Sophie would be dead before they reached the bus home.
All eyes on Mrs. Milford. Keep watching her, Soph. Don't look away. Either she's got the component ready to give to someone here, or that someone has to give it to her.
What's wrong, Sophie? You look like you've seen a ghost.
You didn't tell me your name was Malcolm Hunt.
Yeah? What's wrong with it?
Is your mother's name Amy Hunt?
Yeah?
Did you tell her about me?
Dunno.
For God's sake, think!
I might have said that we hang out sometimes, but not anything like the fire alarm thing. What's this about?
You mustn't let her know about me. If you do, I'll...
Quiet, all of you, while we do the register. Daniel?
Yes, miss.
Thomas?
Yes, miss.
Sophie?
Yes, miss.
Each word was a step in front of the lion. Every register was a battle of nerves. Could she sound just like everyone else did? Calm, careless, stupid. They didn't understand the danger that was all around them. Entering the University of Bereford seemed to Sophie like the closest she had ever deliberately come to being spotted. They had been considerate enough to mark the danger with a pair of stone lions outside the gate, leading into a circular courtyard.
Everyone, this is Miss Kleiser. She is the reason why we are all here. She is going to talk about University Open Days, for which you can apply if your parents and form tutors sign this sheet I'm going to give you all.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone.
If Miss Kleiser had expected an answer, she would have been disappointed.
You should all know by now that this is your next point of call after you leave college. Therefore, you should not hesitate to learn all the wonderful things we will be teaching you. Not all of it, of course, or there will be nothing left for us to do.
There was something about her that was very much like Mr. Leone when Sophie first met him. It was something about those eyes. What colour had they been? Some kind of burnt orange? Mustard yellow? It was so hard to define, and because her mother or Mrs. Milford did not have them, Sophie wondered whether the two had been related. Everything about her was just so painstakingly similar.
They're going to hand it over out of the room, surely. They wouldn't show it to us, not after I broke the first one. How do I get away from the crowd to follow Mrs. Milford?
Without time to think further, Sophie saw Mrs. Milford leave the room.
Please feel free to move around and look at the rooms. Your teachers will ensure you stick together and don't touch anything or disturb our students. If any of you need a toilet, follow the signs. Be back here by 2:30.
Mr. B, I need the toilet. I'll be back in a minute.
She walked as fast as she could manage, without drawing attention to the fact she was going down the wrong corridor. It was true. Now she thought about it, a toilet break would be no bad thing. But it was Mrs. Milford she was desperate to stop. She didn't know how she would, but there was a chance that she would find the right moment to do something.
There you are, Aphrodite. We are still waiting for that data. Do you have it yet?
Yes, Strongar. The auxiliary component is now functional for data retrieval.
You took your bloody time, Aphrodite.
The subject got in the way. Petrov must have lost her understanding of priorities in favour of her imaginary motherhood. Take note, you two. Next time we'll use someone with a strong mind and total detachment, not the first one who volunteers because she can't conceive the real thing.
I could have done it.
No, you couldn't.
Quiet, you two. Amy Hunt will not be pleased to see us fighting like the animals we are disguised as. Another learning point. We have begun to act how we look. Is the matter transmitter ready? I want this piece and us back home now. They can find others to do our earth shifts for us. They have the codes for our disguises on the notice board.
Yes,
Aphrodite.
As the last words were spoken, Sophie risked a peek around the corner. There were 4 of them heading off to the storeroom. One of them had not spoken. It was Malcolm Hunt. This was a cold blow to her. Firstly, she didn't know if he had told them about her. Secondly, if he had been keeping her a secret from them, and left her to Mr. Leone to avoid being caught with her, what would happen to him when they found out?
You follow after me. I don't mind you 3 getting marginal gene splicing, but I'm staying just the way I am.
Got to follow just behind Soph. Don't get spotted, but don't lose them.
The interior of the storeroom was regular, like the inside of a box. Inside this plain space was a wall panel that looked unlike anything Sophie was expecting a matter transmitter to resemble. To begin with, it was highly irregular. A dull, black-coloured coral-like substance had grown over the wall, and within each pore, about an inch in diameter, lay a solid amber-like substance. The centre contained much larger pores, with flat amber panels nearly a foot wide, containing brassy levers and dials like the brain of the Trav-15.
Wait. Okay. Should be safer now. Please say they didn't just stand around, but started walking. Otherwise I'm stuffed. Oh, Jesus.
It was nothing like what she expected. Years upon years of watching science fiction had left no room for doubt as to the size and shape of the bright silver corridors of an alien home world. Those filmmakers had not seen what Sophie Dorset had just become the first human to see. This place, wherever it was so viciously dark that the cold glow bestowed by the cavernous pools of the liquid amber-like substance was in that moment all that saved Sophie's life. There was no floor. Or maybe there was, and she was on it. Either way, the drop below her would have killed her just as surely as the creatures she needed to find. This world was a termite's nest of coarse, oily black coral, like the matter transmitter, only so large that a single amber crater, for that's what they were, no longer fit to be described as pores, could have swallowed an entire house.
Okay, hold on. I can't see where I'm going. Do I climb down or up?
Her arms were becoming tired quickly. If she could reach a ledge to perch on while she gained her bearings in the dark, then she could still get that component back before they found the data.
Come on, Soph. Climb. That crater edge there. I'm up. What's holding this stuff in the craters? It's liquid, so it should just run down.
As she stood to find any clues as to where the aliens had gone, she nearly toppled over into the gloopy substance behind her. Something was pressing against her jacket pocket. Suddenly, one of her pens slid out from inside into the amber 4 feet away, followed by another, and another. Each vaporized after a few seconds within it, disturbing the thick surface like honey trapping flies. Several seconds passed, and nothing happened. Suddenly, a dark shape began to loom below the surface. Something was coming, sensing the disturbance. A large, slick, streamlined creature began to emerge. Sophie's heart raced, and her breathing stopped as the large insectoid form felt around on the coral, turning its head in careful search of the fellow creature that was waiting to challenge its nest. Spiny arms worked their way along the rock towards her, then around the sides.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, please don't let it sense me. It looks like it's blind, but the teachers could see. Perhaps if I stay completely still, it won't notice me. My mother looks like this. Wow. But it isn't even remotely human-shaped. Yeah, it has arms and a head, but the whole thing is spiny like a woodlouse. How can something like that make itself look so human?
The creature left the pool altogether and began to scour around. It had 6 powerful legs that crawled along even the steepest overhangs with ease. As it travelled almost entirely out of sight, she could see it was no longer interested in the search, but was making swift progress along the cave ceiling and down onto the other side. That side was far better illuminated because of the amber liquid shining onto it. Whilst the craters on her side were full near to the brim, the other side contained not a drop of the substance. Remembering her pens, Sophie decided it must be some form of magnetic field the amber was attracted by. A second creature emerged from a dry crater, giving the illusion of appearing out of thin air. Rather than coming to meet the first, it seemed to beckon with a clicking hiss. Somehow, Sophie had to follow them. Could she climb across the cavern without losing the crater? One step onto a higher ledge of the rough stony wall. Then another. A few more steps towards the next crater along. Just another 30 feet away. Her last step fell on an emerging creature, and as it grabbed out with spiny claws, she did the one thing her instinct shouldn't have forced her to do. She jumped from the wall.